Here you are, 20, 60, 120 days later, and you have made it. You have made it. Because go back to the time period that you wished you were a month forward, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. And here you are. You made it. All those nights that you were crying by yourself, all those nights that you wish that you were somewhere else, all those times that you wish you would have been given that hug. Your present self is giving you that hug. Because in those hard times, you knew how proud that future self would be to know that you continued. Because you stayed. No matter how hard that was, you stayed. Even though you didn't want to, even though you didn't want to continue, you did. And I think you should remember how important you are. And to know that your now self, your present self, is giving that person that you were a hug. And that hug that you needed. Because in that time, in those times of hardness and hardship and roughness, and that you can't see the light of day, those are the times that your future self is telling you to continue, is telling you to push through. They're telling you that you've made it on the other side and that you just have to get through it one more day. And one more day will lead you to one more week, and one more week to 2 weeks, and then 3 weeks, and then a month, and then 2 months. All you have to do is continue. And whether you're in that time right now, and that you're wanting to be a month from now, 4 weeks from now, 30 days from now, it's hard. And you want to give up. But you're gonna give up on that person that you were 60 days ago, who didn't want to continue, but they continued anyway. Because I feel like when you go back to it, you're kind of looking at the child self of you and is telling yourself the things that you're telling yourself now. Whether it's to give up, whether it's to quit, whether it's to whatever. Would you tell your younger self that? Would you tell your 5-year-old self that? Whether it's about negative thoughts, whether it's about anything. Would you tell your 5-year-old self that thing? Because that is when you are the most imaginative, like you can imagine anything in the world and that you believe that you can do it. And what has changed? Life, realism, realistic things, circumstances, everything changes. But you don't have to. You can still have that belief that you can get through it, that you can move mountains with your will. Because I think sometimes when you don't see that light and you don't have that light, even if it's that hope that tomorrow will be a little bit better, it gets dark. It gets so unbelievably dark that you don't know what to do, that you feel helpless, that you feel like you can't control anything, that you don't have anything. And that's one of the hardest, darkest, most scariest times, especially in life and in your head. But just continue. Because one day, you're going to look back, and not that you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I wish I would go through that again. But you're going to be thankful that you made it through and that you didn't let that define you and stop you as a person. Because I think one of the hardest things is to have the courage to continue. And whether that courage comes from wherever, it's worth it. And I think you should give yourself that time and that space to find that hope or that peace or that courage or that strength or that bravery. Because when you no longer have that, when you no longer feel that within yourself, you find it in other places. And sometimes that place can fuel you, but can it fuel you for a while? And I think when you can find that thing that's sustainable and that gives you that courage and that strength and that empowerment is what helps you continue. And helps you get to that 60 days later, into that 120, into that day later. Give yourself time. Give yourself time and the grace to feel everything. Give yourself the time to lose hope and to lose faith and to lose every single thing that you thought that you were built upon and that all your foundations and your morals. Give yourself time to lose that. Sounds bad, but you are. You lose one of those things when you're going through a hard time, and I think when you lose it and then you find it, it becomes even stronger. Whether it's your faith, whether it's your values, your morals, your habits, your lifestyle, you can fall off the horse. You're allowed to. And then you're allowed to get back up. And find it again. So sorry, I was like mid-yawn. But I think one of the most important things to remember is that these dark times are what makes those lighter times so much better and those sweet times so much sweeter. And you've experienced some of those sweet times recently, but then maybe you might be back into the dark times. But I think what you just have to continue on and looking for is the sweet times. Finding something that you can enjoy and trying to make the best out of it. And I think that, and I know that is so cliche and that is so hard to do, but I think what is harder is to stay living in the darkness. I think it's hardest to continue to feel as bad as you feel sometimes, and I think you need to find that light. And even if it's literally you being like, I need to get to Friday to get to the weekend, so be it, then that's your thing. I mean, it's not the most optimal thing, but I mean, if you live weekend to weekend just to get through it, I think there's a lot more things or a lot worse things that you could be doing to get through the week. And you just have to. And I think you have to do it for your future self too to get to that point. Because your today's self was your future self 3 weeks ago. And that maybe you didn't think you would get through it, and all of a sudden you're here. And that you made it through, got through it. And I just want you to know you should be proud of yourself. Genuinely and wholeheartedly be proud of yourself that you've made it this far and that you have had the courage to continue even when so many people would have quit and stopped. And so I want to leave you with this. Take a moment and step back and see how far you've come. Because you did not get here by luck. You got here by strength, grit, courage, and bravery. Food for thought.